But I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, a therapy group in Colorado says it's good to drink your own urine.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. What? I've been drinking my neighbors.
No, you haven't, because you don't have neighbors, because you got the little house next door. You know what? Any therapy group in Colorado shouldn't even be published, much less listened to.
Do you remember when all those baseball players poured urine on their hands to toughen up their hands? I believe the Alou brothers did this all the time.
Tony, we're talking 20 years ago now, right?
Oh, well, no, even longer.
Is it longer than that?
Yeah. I never subscribed to that theory. I didn't
want to be dapped up by them in the clubhouse either, by the way.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Klay Thompson tears an ACL. The Wizards court Masai Ujiri and Tigers halfway through the U.S. Open. But we begin today with the Toronto Raptors winning the NBA championship and sweeping the defending champion Warriors on their own home court in this series. The Raptors won this series 4-2. But Kevin Durant played only 12 minutes in the series, and Klay Thompson missed the last 14 minutes of last night's game and all of Game 3. Wilbon, will the Raptors be given full credit for this win, or will people say, well, the Warriors were hurt?
Tony, as long as people remember the details, they will say the Warriors were hurt. But people don't remember anything longer than about a year and a half now. I mean, if they weren't reminded of it this morning on SportsCenter or Instagram, they have no idea of history. And by history, I mean, I don't know, 3 years ago. So in time, like, people don't remember anymore what year it was that Draymond Green didn't play Game 5 and LeBron James and Kyrie won. That was 2016.
Right.
We remember it because we're old and we study history. Now, anybody under 50, they don't care about history. They don't know about history.
Well, I'm going to speak to right here and right now. And right here and right now, it feels to me like there's an asterisk. Because Kevin Durant is a two-time Finals MVP, and Klay Thompson is a scoring machine. And I would turn this around, and I like the Raptors. I picked them to win on the air last night.
I know.
So I like them. But, I mean, if Kawhi Leonard played 12 minutes in this series,
they couldn't win.
They don't win. If Kyle Lowry misses a game and a half, they
don't win.
They're not going to win. So I think I think you have to look at it that way. I think what the Raptors did, they went through the Sixers, they went through the Bucks, they went through the Warriors. That is a great and glittering resume. But it's hard to look at what the Warriors were missing and give them full credit. I mean, down the road, maybe, not now.
Well, okay, but it's the down the road. What I'm saying is the road is so short.
Yeah.
Tony, people don't, listen, nobody remembers that back in 1991, the Bulls beat a Lakers team where Magic was hurting, Byron Scott and Worthy. That's that great championship team's run of Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. To miss those three guys, including a couple of Hall of Famers, nobody knows that.
Do you want to know an interesting little point?
Get an asterisk.
This is very interesting. In the finals of the NHL and the NBA that we just saw concluded, home teams were 3-10.
It's amazing,
3-10.
What's going on with that?
Wow.
Deeper study. Let's see the analytics people wrap their, big brains around that. For a whole lot of people, the lasting image from last night will be less about trophies lofted than Klay Thompson writhing on the floor in pain after an awkward landing tore up his left knee. The diagnosis, sadly, is a torn ACL, which means Thompson could likely miss the entire 2020 season. Tony, let's get right to it. What does this mean for Klay Thompson, who is a free agent, and what does it mean for the Warriors, who could be down two starters, two future Hall of Famers, most of, if not all of, next season?
Okay, the Warriors are dead in the water next year. They're dead. Okay, Klay Thompson, I think he will re-sign with the team, but I don't think he's going to play next year. Kevin Durant, I don't know if he'll re-sign. He's not. He's definitely not playing next year. I don't want to get on the bad side of Draymond Green and say that the whole thing is over, because I'm not sure the whole thing is over, particularly if Durant stays there, over the long haul. But next season, they're done. Next season, that's 50 points a game, Mike. 50.
In the West, Tony, where you've got teams that are in ascension, and we figure the Clippers are going to sign somebody or maybe two somebodies, and you got Portland and you got Denver, and I don't know about OKC anymore.
No. You have no faith in them. No faith in them.
But no faith in them. But, Tony, then you got the Dallas Mavericks who are retooling with young studs and trying to push their way up. Tony, The Warriors, without those two guys, are going to have difficulty just having a good seed in the Western Conference playoffs.
I agree.
And by the way, I don't think they're all done. Maybe they need some time away. This whole 4 times in 5 years proved to be just too physically exacting, as a lot of people said publicly.
So there's 5 years. Mike, it's 5 in a row. It's not 4 and 5. It's 5 in a row.
No. I'm saying they were trying to go for 4 championships in 5 years, and they couldn't get there, Tony. And physically, it was just too much. But I'm not saying it's done. If those guys come back and they re-sign and they have a year away from 20 playoff games, I don't think they're done.
I think Durant is the key figure in this. If he somehow decides to stay 2 years from now, I think they could be great again 2 years from now. But if you look down the road a little further than that, Curry in 2 years, although he will still look 19, he's going to be 33. Draymond Green in 2 years, in 1 year, he's a free agent. He could go at this point. You don't know. Iguodala is going to be out of the league in 2 years because he's going to be 37 years old.
And Sean Livingston, who was such a glue guy and a great part of that thing off the bench, was talking about apparently retirement. I didn't talk to him directly last night. But when people said a few years ago, they're going to win 8 of the next.
No, that doesn't happen.
Shut up.
No, that stuff doesn't happen.
That's not going on.
I think they could have one more run, but
these things are hard.
But Durant's got to stay. Durant's got to stay. The Warriors made the finals 5 years in a row. They won 3 championships. They might have won a 4th if Draymond Green had kept his hands and his legs to himself. They might have won a 5th if Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson played their normal complement of minutes. Wilbon, historically, how do you see this 5-year run by the Warriors?
Well, Tony, it's still a great 5-year run. I tell you the year, look, they did everything. I thought the Warriors played, and I don't use this word often when it comes to sports and performance, courageously last night. I mean, that was a battle. That is one of the great NBA Finals games I've ever seen, and I'm on 33 or 34 in a row and counting right now. So what they did in this space with those injuries was phenomenal. 2016, the year they had the 3-1 lead on Cleveland, and they let it get away, and you mentioned Draymond was out for 1 game. And they won 73. That was the year they won the historic regular season and let it get away. But other than that, I mean, it's a great run. The Birds Celtics won 3. They didn't do any more than this. I think they had 5 cracks at it. They won 3, but they had to go against Magic and the Lakers, and they won 5. Tony, it's a great run. Is it an all-time? Is it as good as Auerbach Celtics? No. Is it as good as Jordan's Bulls? No. But it's great.
Yeah. So I'll try and rank it. Had they won all 5, they would be there ahead of everybody but Bill Russell's Celtics. Had they won all 5. They didn't do that. Had they won 4, I think they're right on the next plateau. I think you could make a case that they're even with Jordan's Bulls for this reason, because it's harder to get through the West. The last 5 years of getting through the West really took a lot, and a team had to be great. But, Mike, they won 3. They didn't win 4. They didn't win 5. They won 3. So I think it's a little bit lower. I got them with Shaq and Kobe's teams.
Shaq and Kobe, I got them with let's not leave them out.
The Bird, McHale, Parrish. I don't know what to do about the Spurs because it's over 15 years. It seemed to me that it is prolonged excellence, but I don't know if it's shattering greatness.
I'm not going to call it a dynasty, but it's a great run. By the way, let's not forget that the Bulls had to go through the Knicks, the Pacers, the Pistons. Come on now.
Mike, I've sat with you for a long time, and you praise the West. You praise the West of the last 8 years.
I do, but it's not any better than the East was 25, 30 years ago. Come on now. But, Tony, this run is not necessarily over. Man, if Golden State could add one more to this, I'm persuaded by talking to Draymond and Steph last night, and they think they're going to be more motivated by this loss, which pains them than all the winning.
Not next year
Not next year.
The year after.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know what? The year after is a real long time, Mike.
It is.
It's a real long time.
Especially in today's sports landscape, it is.
Yeah.
Tone, let's go to Masai Ujiri, who's in the news for a couple of very different reasons today. In the short term, the NBA is investigating whether he made contact with a security officer trying to get to the court immediately after the game. And in the bigger picture, Wizards owner Ted Leonsis is prepared to make a massive offer to lure Ujiri away from Toronto. It's being widely circulated that the Wizards are willing to pay the Raptors president $60 million over 6 years and offer him a stake in ownership. So Ujiri has already told the Wizards no once, or who knows, maybe twice. But with this latest monster offer, do you think he'll seriously have to consider a move to Washington?
Okay, so I don't know Ujiri. I've never met Ujiri. I know you and him are boys, and I know you like him a lot, but I don't know him. 6 years, $60 million, nah. 10 years.
Really?
10 years, if he gets a John Gruden contract.
Okay.
10 years, $100 million, and ownership.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to take that. Because I'll say this. I've said this about Kawhi Leonard, that he's not obligated to stay because he took them to the finals, and now they won the finals. Ujiri made very bold moves. Fortunately, all of them worked out. It's never going to be as good, particularly if Kawhi leaves. So I think he can go. You're looking at the Wizards. They are a terrible and irrelevant franchise at the moment. They got one player worth anything on their roster, Bradley Beal, because John Wall's not going to play. And that people are going to try and get rid of both of them. If you're Ujiri and you're looking at Theo Epstein, and you can take two teams that have never won or one that hasn't won in 1,000 years, and you can win in both places, and you have that guaranteed money, you take it. Take it.
Well, for a guy you don't know, you had a lot to say just now.
Yeah.
Let me say this, Tony.
They pay me.
Listen. That's a lot of money, and that's going to make you think about it, okay?
Yeah.
But let me say this. Let me say this from someplace I know. The Wizards do not have the money that the Raptors, I'm not talking about man for man.
Right.
The Raptors and Toronto and Canada have resources that the Washington Wizards do not. But I want to applaud Ted Leonsis. This is bold if he does this.
Yeah.
I think this is great judgment. I think this is the guy you try and go get.
Yeah.
But, Tony, you got to get – you think the Toronto owners aren't saying to him today, really? Really? The Wizards are offering you that much? How about this check?
Didn't you tell me that his wife grew up in D.C., is from D.C.?
Yes, she did.
So there is
yes,
a certain
she did, Tony. And by the way, there's always been an association and a presumption in part because of that. But, Tony, again, the Wizards, and by the way, there's little stuff that we can't get into too much. The Wizards build a beautiful new complex to practice and have their training. And the whole league is going, they built that where? They did this what? This is turning off current players, much less people they're trying to recruit, like free agents and, a president of another organization was just one. But if Ted can pull this off, it would be great thing for the Wizards.
Let's take a break. Still to come, we will break down where Tiger stands at the U.S. Open.
And does Jordan Spieth really deserve heat for what he said to his caddy?
I don't know how, if it was 10 years, $100 million, I don't know how you turn that down.
Because your team could keep
Pardon the Interruption is brought to you by Verizon, America's most reliable network, and new Coppertone Sport Clear. Clear, cool, protected.
Michael Eaves here. Tonight on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern, the latest on what happened between Raptors president Masai Ujiri and a sheriff right before Toronto's NBA title celebration. Woes on what's next for the Warriors after injuries to Clay and KD, plus the fashion of Tyson Fury. SportsCenter, Keith Olbermann alongside right after PTI.
We all...
I got my doctor's coat on, which means it's time to give Will Bond an uncomfortable procedure in What's the Word? What's first?
DeMar DeRozan must be feeling blank today.
Melancholy. I'm sure he's happy for his former teammates in Toronto, and I'm sure he's miserable for himself. I mean, when he was there, he was an all-star guard. They were seeded first. They were swept out of the playoffs. They were swept out of the playoffs 3 different times. So the trade is made for Kawhi Leonard, and now they're the champions. DeMar DeRozan called himself a sacrificial lamb about a week ago, and you know what? He was.
He was, Tony, but for all those reasons you described, he's conflicted today. I mean, yes, he is thrilled for his friend Kyle Lowry, and I'm sure he was probably texting him last night in the waning seconds of that championship victory here. But come on, he's got to think still. Look, athletes feel the way they do, and they accomplish what they do because there's a supreme confidence, particularly in the guys who play at the highest level, men and women. And so he's got to think, look, if I had had another crack at this, we'd have gotten this done if we'd had this guy and this guy in this circumstance, and LeBron left and went to the West, we would have done this. So he's got to be conflicted.
No, they got rid of him, and they won it.
That's how
Next.
he feels.
Tiger Woods' second round was blank.
Was meh. You know, he Bogeyed the last 2 holes that he played. He finished one over. He's even right now, and even in a lot of U.S. Opens puts you in contention. But he's 7 behind a guy he played with, Justin Rose. Like at the PGA, when he was like 16 behind Brooks Koepka, a guy he played with. He was just another guy out there, Mike, missing putts. He's just sort of out there right now. It's meh.
I think it's worse than that, Tony. I think his second round was eliminating. Not illuminating, eliminating.
Really?
As in out of contention. Tony,
Ooh.
you just said he's 7 back. He's somewhere around 40th right now.
Right.
They're going to play that, of course, until East Coast time, until like 9 p.m.
Least.
So there's plenty of guys left out there. Tony, he'll make the cut, but we presume, but you're not going to come from that far back with the players that are ahead of him. Eliminating.
Unless he throws 65 out there tomorrow.
Even if he does, that's not going to catch him up.
Next.
Jordan Spieth looks blank for blaming his caddy.
He looked ZipRecruiter. Let me give you the background on this. We're referring to the 8th hole yesterday where he hit one shot in the water and then he hit one shot over the green. We want to see what he says, so let's watch.
His problems.
Two perfect shots, Michael. You got me in the water on one and over the green on the other.
So he seems small and petty for criticizing, the caddy who's been with him forever, including the 3 majors that he won. But I think what this is saying is he's looking for a new caddy, and he's going to post that job on a lot of boards and see who applies for it.
For going after his caddy, he certainly looks bratty. I mean, how
I see what you did there.
How little and punkish is that? All these guys is phony when they say, we did this, my team, we in golf. No, dude, it's you. And so it's we, but he hit 2 perfect shots. I know what perfect shots are in golf, and one of them can't be in the water. This is so disappointing out of Jordan Spieth, who 4 years ago was the toast of everybody. He was going to rule golf. He was going to beat Jack Nicklaus.
Not right now.
Get out, bratty.
Next.
Last one, Zach Greinke is blank for saying throwing a no-hitter would be a hassle.
He's tiresome. I mean, I understand that he suffers for years from a social anxiety. That's a terrible thing, and I feel for him. But every time he goes out there, he just seems more and more like baseball's answer to Kyrie Irving. He seems unhappy. He seems miserable. Like Kyrie, he probably wants to play in a completely empty stadium, but you won't make any money. If nobody's there watching or pay attention, you don't make any money. So this is tiresome. And plus, he pitched so great against the Nats last night, it made me sick.
Zach Greinke is bratty. Here's another one. I mean, are you kidding me? All year long when you would get on Durant, and more Kyrie than Durant.
Yes.
And you said they're miserable, like there's a whole generation, these millennials whining and moaning every day through everything. I hit a perfect shot. You know what, Tony? I can hit it in the water, and it's not a perfect shot, and I'm not going to blame Yale at Columbia. I'm going to blame me.
All
so
right,
Greinke
enough.
and Jordan
Eat your
Spieth,
words. Let's just take one last break while Wilbon keeps
Shut
going.
up.
Still to come, Baker Mayfield gets confronted by teammates about some things he said to reporters.
I hate brattiness in sports, man. The Women's World Cup team gets ready to take the pitch against Chile.
I hit
What
it in the
should we
water
expect?
today, and I blamed Yale.
You would
I
blame
did.
Yale.
I did.
Yale.